The deep dive today is taking us deep into the heart of Persian mythology. We're looking at a quest that, it truly defines the word endurance.
Mm.
It's a story where the survival of an entire civilization really depended not on some huge clash of armies, but on the sheer, unyielding will of just one man.
Right. And our source material really paints this epic picture of the champion, Give, and his legendary search for a hidden king.
An ordeal that's famously known as the 9 months in snow.
It's just a profound study in personal commitment. And for you, the listener, it's a masterclass in how patience can sometimes be a greater weapon than any sword.
So that's the mission for this deep dive then.
Yeah, we're going to analyze the staggering historical and, emotional weight of this journey. We'll explore the massive political and even prophetic crisis in Iran that made this quiet, desperate act of heroism the only path forward.
And the stakes really couldn't have been higher. So to understand Giv's mission, we have to start with the catastrophe that came right before it. The whole narrative kicks off with the death of Prince Siavash. He was the pure-hearted heir to the Iranian throne.
And he was betrayed, just heinously executed by Afrasiab, who was the fierce king of the rival nation, Tehran.
This wasn't just a political hit, was it?
Oh, not at all. You have to see it as an attempt at dynastic extinction. The Kayanian bloodline, which represented the legitimate sort of divinely favored rulers of Iran, was seemingly severed.
So it was about more than just power.
Absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the Kayanian line was believed to be blessed by the heavens. So extinguishing it, that was seen as a cosmic disruption. You were basically inviting chaos.
But a seed of hope, as they say, survived the purge.
It did. Siavash's wife, Ferengis, was pregnant. She managed to flee into the borderlands of Tehran, and there, secretly, she gave birth to a son.
Khosrow.
Khosrow. This infant, hidden from the world, becomes, well, the last hope of the Kayanian bloodline.
And that explains Afrasiab's obsession.
It explains why he was so ruthless in his pursuit. He knew that this boy, even as an infant, represented a political earthquake just waiting to happen.
So the boy and his mother, they're forced into hiding.
Instantly. They're relegated to a life of absolute anonymity and constant motion. The sources describe them moving like shadows between mountain villages and isolated pastures for years, always one step ahead of Iranian patrols.
So while they're on the run in enemy territory, what's happening back in your own?
It's critical. The old king, Khosrow, he's aging and has no recognized heir. So you have this dangerous political vacuum.
And then the prophecy comes in.
Right. It gets worse because the court astrologers confirm this grim, very strange truth. The true prophesied king is alive, but he's living across the hostile border, born as Siavash's seed.
So they have to get him back.
It's an absolute necessity, not just to secure the throne, but to restore order to the universe, so to speak. And to incentivize this, well, near impossible quest, Khosrow makes a staggering promise. Whoever brings him back shall share the throne. They weren't just looking for a soldier. They needed a miracle worker.
And that's where the source material gets brutally honest about just how difficult this was. It spends a lot of time underscoring the failures that came before Give. This wasn't a mission nobody wanted. It was a mission nobody could seem to complete.
And what's fascinating here is the caliber of the heroes who failed. We're talking about champions like Tus, who was famous for his military prowess.
And even Giv's own father, right?
His own father, Gudars, alongside the brave and powerful Bijan. The key insight here is that they all attempted a military infiltration.
So they tried to solve a subtle, almost psychological problem with brute force.
Exactly. Tus and Bijan, these are heroes built for open conquest and battle banners. They try to cross these fiercely guarded borders with, retinues or in a way that fit their station.
And it backfired.
Completely. They were either immediately captured or just forced to turn back in despair, realizing that searching an entire enemy land for a ghost child, well, it's not a feat of arms. Their failure proved that conventional heroism was useless here.
So enter Give, son of Gudars. If his father and the greatest military minds failed, what was it about Give that made him the only one who could possibly succeed?
Well, Give is definitely a powerful warrior. He's described as tall and steadfast, but the sources repeatedly highlight his defining traits.
Which aren't about strength.
No, it's his reputation for incredible patience and his iron will. This mission required a very specific type of discipline, the patience to endure months of failure and the will to operate in total obscurity.
He understood the strategic shift that was needed if an army couldn't cross the border.
A merchant just might.
Right.
Precisely. Give went alone. No army, no banner. That would have instantly alerted the Turanian authorities. He adopted the identity of a traveling merchant, slipping into Turan like a ghost.
That's a huge shift in mindset.
It's an act of deep humility and strategic genius. He trades his identity as a renowned champion for the anonymity of a common seeker.
And the search itself was just agonizingly slow.
For months, Give wandered all across Turan, from marketplaces to distant settlements. He wasn't relying on maps or, large-scale intelligence.
He was relying on rumors.
Faint rumors and careful, subtle questions about a very specific figure. A beautiful, golden-haired boy who supposedly tended flocks in the highest valleys.
Just imagine the mental fortitude required for that. Every day is a test. Every person you talk to could be the one who exposes you.
And every lead could be a false one. He spent weeks chasing nothing, sleeping rough, all while knowing that his capture would mean the permanent end of the Kayanian dynasty. It's a silent internal war.
And then, just when you think it can't get any harder, the environment itself basically launches a counterattack.
Yeah, this is where the story really shifts.
The sources emphasize the severity of it. Then came the cruelest winter Turan had ever known. This is where it stops being about political intrigue and becomes purely about survival.
And what's so fascinating is how the myth frames this winter. It wasn't just bad weather. It was almost as if the spirit of Turan, Afrasiab's own territory, was actively trying to destroy the Iranian champion.
When you read the descriptions of that ordeal, it's just visceral.
It is.
For 9 long months, Zev was trapped in the frozen, high-altitude landscape of the Alborz Mountains. The snow fell waist-deep, making travel impossible.
And winds that cut like blades through whatever meager clothing he had left.
He was miles from any aid. His cloak was in rags, his feet frostbitten, and he was living solely on whatever scraps the storms allowed.
This is the complete antithesis of traditional heroism. There is no glory in the suffering. There's only stubborn, unyielding survival. He wasn't resting or retreating. He was just trying to stay alive so he could continue the search the next day.
That 9-month period in the snow, it becomes the ultimate proof of his iron will.
It really does.
I mean, how does a person maintain purpose when nature itself is trying to kill you and erase all hope? It speaks to this incredible, single-minded devotion.
It does. And that persistence, it finally breaks through the silence of the winter. It happens in one powerful, dramatic moment. At dawn, in a remote valley, completely buried under white silence, he sees them.
After all that pain, all that searching, what was the definitive sign? Was it just the rumored golden hair, or is there something more?
The sources suggest it was both. Give first sees a woman and a beautiful boy herding sheep in that desolate landscape. But the key identifier, the sign that matched the prophecy and confirmed his year of suffering, it was immediate. Breathtaking.
The boy's hair.
It shone like gold in the weak sun. And his eyes, our sources state, held the unmistakable light of ancient kings. It was a royal presence, even in rags.
What an emotionally seismic moment. A revelation after nearly a year of quiet hell.
He approaches, ragged and frostbitten, and he asks softly, "What is your name, child?" And when the boy replies, "Ki Khosrow," Champion's resolve finally breaks.
He weeps.
Immediately. He weeps and falls to his knees in the snow. That's the reaction of a man who has held the burden of an entire civilization's future and finally physically lets it go.
And Ferangis, the mother, she must have been just paralyzed with fear and suspicion. This isn't some triumphant general showing up.
No, it's a desperate, half-frozen man. She's terrified. After years of hiding, her instinct is just to protect her son from this stranger who just burst out of a blizzard.
So how does he convince her?
She only believes him, the source notes, after he swears his loyalty and his identity by the most sacred thing she could know, the soul of the boy's slain father, Siavash.
But the reunion is instantly cut short, right? The danger wasn't theoretical. Give had been running out of time the whole time.
He warns them. There is no time. Afrasiab's specialized hunters were closing in. They were likely tracking the faint movements of the small family, or maybe even Giv's own recent path.
So the search ends, and the escape begins.
The most treacherous part of the whole mission. An immediate, non-stop escape across a hostile border.
And that journey home is a testament to Giv's primal dedication. The sources detail an escape fueled not by strength, but by sacrifice. He carried Ki Khosrow on his shoulders when the snow was too deep for the child to walk. He used his own body as a shield for Ferangis against the wind and fought off wolves and blizzards with only his sword and his ferocious will.
And this is where Giv's genius as a tracker and a guide really eclipses his reputation as just a warrior. Iranian riders pursued them relentlessly, trying to cut them off.
But his strategy was pure evasion.
Pure evasion and using the environment as a defense. He didn't fight them in the open. He led them into impossible terrain.
He weaponized the very weather that had been tormenting him for months.
Precisely. He knew every hidden pass. He drew the Iranian pursuers into the teeth of blizzards that blinded the enemy horses and riders.
The sources have this chilling image of them crossing rivers.
Yeah, the danger was so imminent that they crossed frozen rivers that, as the text chillingly notes, cracked beneath pursuing hooves just moments after they got across. It's an image of constant immediate peril.
But after what the sources call endless days of cold and hunger, they finally reached the Iranian border. And that moment of safe passage, again, it's so quiet and profound.
It is. It's the ultimate moment of culmination. When Jiv finally saw the banner of Iran fluttering on the horizon, he didn't cheer or rush forward.
He sank to his knees.
He sank to his knees, kissed the earth he had risked everything for, and he just whispered, "I have brought back the king." He fulfilled his purpose before he even took another step onto Iranian soil.
And the fulfillment of the prophecy back at the court was just as immediate.
Immediate and undeniable. Old King Khosrow looked at Khosrow and instantly recognized the truth the astrologers had foretold. There was no political maneuvering, no doubt.
He just gave him the crown.
The king immediately placed the crown upon the boy's head, and, honoring his promise, he stepped aside. The chaos was calmed, the prophecy was complete.
And Give, who had sacrificed 9 months of his life and his own identity for this silent mission, was hailed as the greatest of heroes.
His reputation was sealed. He's often remembered not for the battles he won, but for the endurance he showed in that single quest. The poet Ferdowsi gives him this eternal tribute.
Give, the renowned champion.
For 9 months in snow and ice, brought Khosrow to Iran and made his own name eternal.
So when we look at the entire source material, the failure of the armies, the desperation of the old king, the silence of the search, what is the central lesson of Giv's triumph?
I think it's the lesson that really defines true heroism. The journey wasn't about military might or external power. It was about the sheer internal force of patience and unyielding will.
He succeeded because he endured the longest night.
Exactly. His success hinged on his ability to embrace obscurity, survival, and continuous searching, rather than demanding immediate glory.
He walked through hell's winter to carry a hidden king home on his shoulders and save the soul of Iran. It's the ultimate example of silent purpose winning out over spectacular power.
It is. I mean, this story reminds us that our most crucial missions often require us to sacrifice that immediate recognition for the slow, agonizing work of enduring hardship in secret. It's a blueprint for persistence.
So for you listening, maybe consider what personal long night you're currently navigating. May every seeker who endures that longest night find at the end the light, that essential purpose they were born to carry. Thank you for diving deep with us today.